All right, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Wait, am I hearing an echo? No, I think I'm good. Oh, I am now going to turn my speakers down. All right, second time's a charm. That's a little bit better. You guys still able to hear me?
Yep.
All right, and then Leopard, just as a quick sound test, since it's the first time we're using this, do you mind hopping into Twitch just to make sure that you guys are able to hear us?
Can I mute this, this meeting thing?
I mean, you could probably just end it and pull it back up again.
Alright, I'm just gonna work with it.
Anybody who's joining us here, just give us a second. This is a new system we're trying out. Hopefully this will be the final change that we have to do to the sound systems.
I think it's okay.
Somebody else talk too, just to make sure it's not just me.
I'm talking. Anything? Testing.
How about that?
I'm the scat.
Leopard, are you hearing people?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot quieter in Twitch than on the chat.
All right, let me see if there's anything else that I need to do on that. So that's my mic. All right, somebody else test. Is this still coming in low, Leopard?
Yeah, it sounds a bit distant.
When are you coming out with a record with that?
Y'all be dropping my album next Thursday.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. I hit the wrong button. All right, let's try that one more time, guys.
Thank you, Tara.
Whenever we go live,
We are currently live, so that's where we're just testing this part out. I'll have to.
Do it live.
okay, can you send me the link to the Twitch so that I can post it in chat?
Yeah.
I have a kitty.
Oh, I love her.
Kilter, are you able to hear the other people? Everybody else, you feel free to talk or chat. Just want to test it out.
She's on my shoulder. He.
Conversation. Talking.
I love her so much. It's making me mad.
How about if I give her snuggles for you?
Snuggles. Baby cat Snuggles.
Sorry for leaving my left mad.
You make me miss my I'm gonna get him microchipped and bring him up here.
Oops, not the button I wanted.
Spooky?
Scary?
Skeletons.
Okay. We'll talk about this later. But he's too old to be a traveling cat to learn.
No, I mean, as a probably
Permanent?
here permanent resident, because I'm scared to bring him to Squirrel Hill.
Okay.
You've seen those windows, right?
It's Squirrel
Yeah.
Hill?
She's moving into my apartment building. So I have really old-fashioned windows here.
Yeah, you sure do.
But this one is my murder body, and Spooky can join our club.
Your camera is off, by the way. I can't see you. There is no cat in bossing, say.
Someone's notifications are constantly coming through, by the way.
It's not mine.
Might be me. I don't know.
Pretty sure
This is a new computer. I'm trying to figure out how to turn my notifications off.
I mean, headphones are the easiest way.
All right. Well, I've kind of tweaked the audio the best that I can. So this is kind of be what we got.
Okay. You're sounding much better.
And how about everybody else?
I mean, I can hear you great.
It's not as crisp and loud as the chat. I think it's serviceable for tonight.
Okay. That was my concern. So when there's been a couple times, Roy, where we were maybe 30, 40 minutes into the game and then found out that everybody heard me and nobody else.
Oh. Yeah, that's not what you want.
Right. And I was like, okay, well, it's either we're going to continue on and just assume, or we're going to restart this whole thing. All right. So.
Well. I am checking with Kilted to see if it was really low earlier or right now.
Not
Well, I'm going to pick us up and continue, and then if we need to make any tweaks, we'll make tweaks as we go.
Okay, Kilton is in the audience.
Yep.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, he says it's still quiet.
Well, this is going to be what we have to do. We'll try to tweak it maybe a little bit later.
So I guess some other time we'll have to recheck what the Streamlabs is doing, I guess.
Yeah, because that's what I was just playing with, and I wasn't getting much of anything out of it.
Yeah.
But all right. That all being said, thank you for joining us here tonight in episode 14 of Turmoil and Taldori. Our story continues here in the content of Exandria. Just a couple quick announcements. On my TikTok, I am currently, and you can find the link for the TikTok in my in the bio of the stream, but currently putting together ideas for perhaps doing a charity stream. Everything's very much still in the planning stage. I don't know exactly who I'm going to be supporting, or if there's much of an interest in it, but it's an idea that I've been bouncing around and might do. So kind of stay tuned for that as we go into it. Second, since I got some new sound equipment and at least I'm coming across clear, I'm going to figure out a schedule for it, but I'm going to start doing maybe weekly or bi-weekly streams of just myself as just chats. If you're a new player, you want to learn how to play the game, if you have questions, character build ideas, want to bounce around ideas yourself or anything like that, I'm going to be here to be able to go over any of that stuff, and I will be posting updates, and so this way then we can go ahead and just kind of hang out and get to know each other.
For anyone who's just joining our stream now for the first time, Revan has been playing and DMing for more than 20 years. So when he says he's going to do AMAs and give people advice, it actually means something.
Thank you. My little heart.
Guest appearances from your friends and players, perhaps?
Dun dun dun. Absolutely, I like this idea.
So I can show up and just tell people all of my chaotic things.
Yes, absolutely.
Fun fact, Revan will never admit it, but he bounces ideas off of me, and then I make fun of him. I don't
That's-
actually make fun of him.
That's also
I make
true.
fun of him.
To be fair, I bounce ideas off of everybody because my ADHD gives me all of the ideas,
You just bounce.
and then I just have to.
Bounce ideas off of me.
Well, you're still brand new. Nothing against that. You know, I welcome everybody at the table, but usually I'll bounce my ideas off of the veterans first.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Wizards had access to everything. But if you burned their spell book, then they became as useless as the dirt.
I mean, that's still pretty accurate. But nonetheless, Talia, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Legit, like 2 days ago or a day ago, Tyler posted something that was like back in my day or back in the day, and I heard it in Zeno's voice, and we were talking about it. It was hilarious.
Back in my day, we had to walk 15 miles uphill both ways in the snow.
I will never hear it in anybody else's voice.
Just for a glimpse at a fireball.
Just for a glimpse.
And don't even get me started on the firestorm spell. But that's a goal that I'm trying to get to launch here at some point. Other than that, I appreciate viewers coming in here, whether they're long time or brand new. We welcome everybody at the table, regardless on religion, creed, and anything. Our table is full of neurodivergency and is full of the LGBT plus community as well. So,
are they welcome if they listen to Creed?
I mean, sure.
I hate you.
Kilted, you bring a great thing in here, because he tossed in the chat, you should worry whenever Revan starts bouncing ideas off of you.
I do. That's why I heavily scrutinize all of them.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because I'm insidious, and a lot of the ideas that I have are wonderful and horrible, and they're really good broad ideas, and all I need sometimes is that little push in a direction, and it makes it either really fun or emotionally damaging. Because doesn't matter what resistances you have, you can't resist emotional damage.
I mean, it can be both, can it not?
I mean, yeah.
Emotionally damaging and fun?
Yeah.
You say that, but what about psychic damage resistance?
I mean, you're welcome to try. But, nonetheless, so, as everybody kind of joked around and I've been talking, I am Revan. I have been a dungeon master for a long time, and I welcome everybody here. We'll do a quick, actually one last announcement. We have a new face in the chat. I will be doing an introduction to his character later as he gets introduced. But one of our players is out for a couple of weeks, so he has decided to join us to fill in the spot, and I'm really excited to see what his character does and how he interacts with the party. So, everybody, Tyler.
Hi, everybody.
Tyler is another one of the TikTok personalities that I've met. He has some really hilarious content. He has his it's J-Dub, right?
R-Dub.
R-Dub. Yeah, R-Dub, he's a hillbilly halfling wizard, and my god, he is spectacular.
Everyone loves him.
Everybody loves him.
They like him more than they like me.
Ain't that the cold truth?
Yeah, I feel
I don't
that.
like you that much.
But we'll kind of do a quick go around for anybody that might be joining in with us the first time. We'll do Tyler the first. Let me do a quick introduction on yourself and your character. This would be for Zeralda, essentially.
Okay, I got confused about which one of us you were talking about.
Yeah, I realized that, and I'm like, you know what? I should just stick to character names.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Ty. I play a halfling druid named Zerelda Pricklebush at your service. She's very tall for her people. She'll have you know. Imagine her looking like a Full Metal Alchemist Ishvalan. So dark tan skin, white hair that's braided into dreadlocks, red eyes, very tall again. She wears a lot of like face paint, and she has a gorgeous staff.
And armor.
Yes. Oh, I always forget the armor. She has green dragon scale armor. Because hell yeah. I need to get it drawn so I remember.
And your class.
Oh, she's a halfling druid.
Thank you.
Circle of the Shepherd.
All right, Leopard.
Okay. Hi. I'm Mr. Sokar. I play Leopard, excuse me, the drow masquerading as typical elf. They're archfey warlock / wizard.
General appearance on them.
Pretty on the small side, and has a snow leopard cloak.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Zeno.
What the fuck is up, gamers? It's your boy Chrono back at it again.
Every
Game
time.
Day 14. We're here. We're queer. Probably. And I play Zeno, the half-elf warlock of the Twunk. He's a Twunk. Pretty that bow of the Goddess Martell, detective hired by the city of Milan, solving some mysteries. And boy, do we got some fucking mysteries to uphold today, gamers. So smash that follow button, share with your friends, comment, and subscribe to whatever we post platform this is on.
Twitch.
And
Twitch is the platform.
Twitter, sure. Retweet, reblog, whatever MySpace has that we used back in the day. Zonga. Anyway, that's it for me. Pass it on over.
And thank you. All right. The Wall of Zariel.
My name is Earday. I play the Wall of Zariel. The Wall is a very prideful battle master tiefling. He has red skin, sweeping horns, long brown hair, obviously has a tail, and he wears a full set of adamantine armor, carries a tower shield, and he stands at 6'9", wink wink. That's probably, yeah, Twitch guidelines. Yeah. Anyway, words.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. There was something else I was going to actually say about him. Oh, I was going to just reinforce his pride, how prideful he is. It's to a fault, where he does not believe that he will ever fall.
Immortals will put their name to the test.
But he is the Lord of Zariel. He will never fall. He can take it all.
I've got several banana peels lined up to prove that wrong.
Stop repeating it.
All right. Thank you.
It's the character. It's his personality.
Start prepping the grease spell.
Talia.
Hi, I'm Talia.
You are not in camera. There you are.
Hey there. Play Corvina. She's a pirate. Like she thinks she is. She's kind of like the love child between, how did I word it? A pirate queen and Sonia. Belmont, yes. She kills undead. She is the rogue and the cleric. Although she hates healing people because that wastes her spells when she can use it for inflict wounds. Because that is the
the best condition is bad.
Yes. She is put in the party to protect the wall so he doesn't fall. And she is just fun to be around. Give her a bottle of rum and let's get this started.
All right, thank you.
One last member is right there.
Popper.
Bumpers.
Wait a minute here. That dog doesn't play D&D.
Not with that attitude.
Boss.
All right, excellent. Well, let's go ahead and get everybody caught up here as to what happened on last episode and last couple episodes. So, without further ado, the Shadow Hearth Society proudly presents Turmoil and Taldori, episode 14. So, our party had been in the city of Amon after doing several weeks of tracking down a villain, getting a dwarf their home back. They eventually made it to the city of Amon. Various things had happened throughout, and everybody had little side quests. Zerelda went and met up with a friend of hers, friend and lover in the Cloudtop district. Zeno came back to his office as being a detective to find a pile of casework. And a couple other members of the party just kind of went about the city and learned about the different things that were there. The city, though 20 years past the events of the Chroma Conclave, still is, well, it's better than it was, is still kind of climbing up from the crater that was left. While in the city, they had been contacted by Zerelda's partner, Lorana, had been asked to do a mission for her where there had been a couple missing persons disappearing in regular intervals in the docks district, where she has a lot of stake there. The party went and investigated and tracked down the person that had been doing the kidnapping. Taking them through to the graveyard district, they had encountered the culprits were a group of devils. After some very heavy fighting, they encountered a hag and a special devil that was wearing an amulet. The hag vanished before they had a chance to really do anything with it. And the devil, it ended up, after they killed it, got enchanted through the amulets with some type of cursed cold blessing, which brought it back to life. Through quick thinking of Leopard, he was able to prevent that transition before it fully went into effect, and it dropped dead. They were in the process of trying to gather some clues that the hag had somewhat destroyed on her way out, when they had encountered a survivor there, as well too as the dead body of an acquaintance. The survivor had stated that all she needed was a little bit of rest, and she'd be willing to help them with tracking down the hag. They had brought the body of the acquaintance to the Church of the Raven Queen and paid for services for it to be put under general repose and returned to the family. When they went to report this to Lorana, and after they had finished up, the case that Zeno had been working on kind of fell on their laps. See, while Zeno was gone, there was a lot of explosions and strange deaths that had happened due to magic items, and was all the work of one individual that the party had, or not the party, that Zeno had identified as the mechanic, as a rogue artificer. Whenever he returned to the city, the death toll had increased. And they encountered one of the guards within the Cloudtop district holding a magic item that was in the process of trying to kill him. And they were able to track the mechanic down. Assuming that they were going to be facing off against this grand evil person, they not only had started to fight, but they also had the chance to talk. And turns out that the mechanic is, while not without his wrongs, was also the victim. See, he had indicated that he had a working with one of the underground organizations, the Myriad. He originally was selling the magic items till he found out that those magic items had been used in ways that he wouldn't have seen unsavory. Used in extortions, deaths, things that his items weren't designed for, and what they told him that they weren't going to be used for. So, he told him he would stop working for them. After he told them they would stop, as payment, they took his wife. And from then, he was working through the system and trying to find out where he could locate them. Party decided that he, in fact, is not the villain, at least not entirely. He has his wrongs. He has harmed innocents in his pursuit. But there's more to it than just that. So, party finished up with their interrogation with him. They gathered the evidence they had and made it back from the sewers onto the surface level. The party, however, had to stop the rogue, Corvina. In his descriptions as to what was going on, and part of that caused his despair, he mentioned about his son being sick. And part of the reasons why he was selling the magic items originally was to be able to pay off for a greater restoration. Because of everything that happens, he hasn't been able to do that. Corvina, going off the handle, had gone to the temple district with no description of the child, only the location of the church, and an attempt to get the child. Party ended up stopping her, an argument ensued, and the guards, who, keep in mind, this was at like 1 o'clock in the morning, guards hearing the argument of several people in the street, came rushing over to find out what was going on, and through a series of persuasions, persuaded the guards not to arrest them, but they were still being taken to the military district. And that is where we left off.
To be fair, it wasn't the argument, it was the elephant.
You could have let the DM just think it was an argument.
I mean, to be fair, there is an elephant in the room for that, but I also left out some of the details to not be super convoluted. There was a lot of details I had to just explain over the past 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was the elephants. And I didn't have to run off for no reason. She has her own thought process about the whole thing.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but we're not privy to that at the moment. You'll have the chance to explain yourself at some point, I'm sure.
Probably in front of a judge.
That's also possible. Who knew that this was going to turn into Judge Judy, the D&D episode? All right. So, like I said, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. The guards, while they're not being aggressive with it, they are walking guys through onto like where they want to take you, which is into that district. There is the city here. Apologies for the map being really blurry. It's just how it turns out. So, party was in the temple district around this area, and then moved into the military district. Streets are kind of quiet. You see some people walking through every once in a while. Handful of drunks hugging each other as they're either singing or trying to maintain a balance while they're going through the city streets. But largely the place is quiet. Those with the higher perceptions occasionally see a person skulking in one direction or another, and the guards just ignore them.
Can I try to steal rum off one of the drunks?
No.
I mean, you're welcome to, but you're also being surrounded by a bunch of guards walking into the military district to be processed.
So, rolling without it? Or with
No. No, I contest that. And grab your arm before you can do anything.
I have a +10 sleight of hand. 1 dice or 2?
I would say with the amount of eyes that are on that, do that as a disadvantage.
12.
So I think everybody, with the exception of probably the guards, saw that. The drunks probably not. Let me see, because they're also going to get a disadvantage being drunk. Oh, yeah. You guys watch her do it, but she pulls like a half a bottle of rum off of one of the drunks as they walk by.
And put it in the bag of holding. Well, can I cap it?
If you have like a piece of cloth or something, you tug it in there and cap it.
Alright, never mind. I'll just swig it as we walk.
Guards didn't notice.
Palms their face.
All right, so you guys keep walking. One of the guards, about 5 minutes later, takes a look at you and just kind of gives you that look of where the hell did that bottle come from? But other than that, they just keep walking. All right, so a couple minutes go by, and you do make it to the military district. Let me pull up my notes because I cannot remember what the captain of the guard's name was. Fuck it. His name's Jackson. See, I think that might have been what it was. I think I just gave him a simple name. But you make it to the main guardhouse, and kind of start the processing thing where people start, asking your name, where you're from, that kind of stuff.
Nope. So I was like, no, you're not getting any of that. We're talking to the captain first.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion.
23.
Gotta love them warlocks. Alright, so the person you're talking to, he's definitely a younger guard. Probably in his, maybe late teens, early 20s. Probably just out of boot camp. And he's coming over with paperwork, and it's definitely one of those, I just started the night shift kind of things. In which case you're like, no, we're not doing any of that. You're getting the captain. It was, I have to put down the names. You're being processed.
I tap him gently in the face. Oh, aren't you cute? No, go get the captain.
Okay. Alright, he turns around and leaves. Never thought I'd see Zeno go Karen on somebody. Give me your manager.
I did not say I said
You did say please.
I did say please.
Alright, a couple minutes later, and probably about maybe 10 minutes or so, you do see Jackson come out. Looks like the guard that you were talking to had to go out to the barracks Now, Jackson, since this is the first time you guys are meeting him, is a older human. Older being like in his like late 40s. Definitely has that like dark like salt and pepper hair to him. Very neatly trimmed goatee and mustache. And right now he's coming in. He has a pair of breeches that he's currently like in the process of like buckling. But he's still in that like half sleepwear moment where he has like his top is still just like this sleep shirt. It's got one of those like conical sleeping hats on. And he starts coming in all it definitely has that like gruff bluster of like who in the Sam hell is waking me up at this time of night? Zeno the fuck.
I should say the same thing. You really should hang a picture up or tell the guards, hey, don't arrest our detective unless he's committing actual crimes.
Were you committing actual crimes?
No.
Alright, looks to the other guards. Go fuck off somewhere. Come on.
So, on a scale of 1 to urgent, how urgent do you think this is, the fact that I woke you up and dragged you out here?
I would say that if you want to have work in the next week or two, probably should be at least an 8.
I would say probably 10. So, our friend here, and so I'll motion to the mechanic.
Before we get into that, let's find a meeting room, shall we? He'll take you guys out of the front office because, I mean, you guys draw attention. Series of various types of armor, really, really spectacular. 2 suits of armor on both Zeno and you, fucking dragon scale on the other. Like, you guys show off without trying. And he goes and leads you guys into this kind of like bigger meeting room. It's like, all right. And he starts looking around and pulls out like out of the cabinet. All right, start talking. As he starts like putting together the stuff to be able to make coffee in there.
I'll help him because let's be real, that's not making me cut the job. Wall, could you possibly keep an eye on? Is there a window in this room?
No, this room is closed off. There is 2 doors though.
Wall, could you keep an eye on one of the doors for us, please?
Absolutely. I don't know where that accent just came from. Ignore it.
Okay. Well, you know what the elite is. Jackson, we found the mechanic.
And I assume that's him. He kind of nods over at where the mechanic is sitting.
Yes, and you'll notice that I'm not excited about it.
I'm also noticing that he's not in manacles either.
No, because he's really not the problem.
Okay.
Zeno will explain everything that
I explained at the beginning.
yes.
Um,
Including the assassination attempt.
which is an important part that I did leave out. That as you had brought him out of the sewers into the temple district, and we're trying to figure out what direction you were going to go in, 2 arrows went into his chest, and he dropped. Puppy. Anyway, you can't show an ADHD person a puppy on a camera, my man. That's
The puppy was the assassin.
dun dun dun.
Perfect crime.
They'll never see it happen. Anyway, so listens to everything and give me a just a general charisma check as well, or like a general charisma roll.
Okay, 15.
Okay. So it's a hell of a story. I'm assuming that you wouldn't be waking me up at the ass crack of no and not have some type of evidence and documentation and such.
I've already pulled out all of the evidence and documentation.
All right. There's a lot for me to be able to go through with this. We're going to have to put him in some type of holding cell or something where he's not going to be able to go out, because I get the impression that he's not going to want to stop in his mission of going after the Myriad.
No, and also, I don't believe everyone who works here is, clean.
That's when the mechanic will jump up, or not jump up, will speak up. Yeah. That kid that didn't get killed by the flying sword, he's had his palms greased by killing a couple times. Captain rubs his nose. Fuck. Which means if there's one, there's probably a couple.
You'd think after the whole, Thordak burning the town to the ground, or the city to the ground, excuse me, people would be less likely to, sell themselves out. But I guess money's always stronger than dragons.
Well, and part of the problem is that the clasp has such a hold here as well. And there's several places that we know that they operate out of that we just can't do anything about. And by that, I mean by city order. They're indebted into the city, and they don't have a level of control over the Lyceum has control over. We're kind of running a little bit thin on what we're capable of doing, which allows bullshit like this to happen.
Have you considered just packing up and starting your own, new law? Just rolls off the tongue.
It's a fun idea, but I think that all of us are too ingrained here in the city and hoping for change. But I do have some good news for you, though. So, the Myriad being in the city, that's not the first I've heard about this. I do have another detective that has actually been working on a Myriad case and would probably benefit from what information you guys found. Two of you could probably work together and make something work here. In the meantime, trying to think on where we could put him. We technically put him in solitary confinement in the basalt.
Corvina looks up from her room at Zeno and goes, Remon. That's what you should name it.
Why do I feel like that sounds like a Pokemon?
Sounds more like a Digimon to me.
Yes.
I was about
Yes.
to say that.
There is Redamon, the hot fox one that all the
Oh,
yes.
yes. Yes. Yes. Childhood memories.
Should actually remove furry. Everyone's into Redamon.
And thus, 90s cartoons has awakened so many things. Hashtag Lola Bunny. Anyway. So. We can put him in in the solitary confinement in the prison. That's impossible to break into. The only way it ever got broken out of is whenever Thordak attacked. So, that was one of the first things that got repaired, was getting that back up and running and fixed. So, the mechanic would be safe there, and he'd be out of our hair too. So he's not going about tinkering with stuff and trying to finish off whatever vendetta he has.
Can we put a nice bed in there?
What about his sick boy?
Nothing I do about that right now. He's probably in the best place he could be at the moment, which is in the temple. Oh.
will they continue to heal the boy?
Something we'd probably have to take up with them at some point. But
Well,
that's not a tonight problem.
Corbina goes up to the mechanic. If we pay for the boy, just if, I make no promises, who could they give him to while you're in here? Is there anybody else that will take care of him?
He has a couple cousins out in Kymel.
I need a description of your boy and an address, and if somebody has paper, a letter, so we can take care of your boy while you're in here.
Corvina, we don't have time for that.
We've been here less than a week. We have some time. I want this boy to be safe.
We don't have time. We can move him somewhere tonight. We cannot go out on a cross-country venture. We've already had an assassination attempt on the mechanic. At this point, I imagine our friends know about the fact that we're closing in on them, so
We can
really
hire
don't-
him an escort to get to his cousins.
Fine.
So just to be clear, and this is the captain speaking, you're wanting to have him sign over potentially custody of the boy for the moment, and then you're going to hire a caravan guard to take him from here to Kymel.
If we can negotiate his healing, yes.
I think that that's a bad idea. The Myriad are not a group that you want to mess with, and if you give them a soft target, they're going to use it. He's in the temple of Palor at the moment. Nobody's breaking in that.
Oh, right. Yeah, you know, you don't fuck with religion.
Yeah,
Because their god will smite your ass.
I mean that, and their paladins are one of the better warriors that the city has. The only exception to that might be the Temple Accord.
Oh, well, that's one convenient plot point that we have taken care of then.
Corbina just takes another swig and goes quiet.
So, this is what I suggest. You guys look like hell. You guys look like you've had a really long night. So, I know what inn you guys are staying at. Zeno told me the last time I talked to him. So, you guys go back, get some rest. We will take him into the solitary in the prison. I will put somebody there on guard with him that I do trust. And then we will get our other detective to you guys in the morning. So I have no idea if he slept or not. Deal? Your mic barely picked that up, bud.
I said that sounds fine to me.
All right. Goes.
So I'm gonna speak up for first time in a while.
Oh, please.
And say, guys, I don't really have a chicken in this game. So what you guys think we should do is what we're gonna do. But I need to sleep.
I would agree. I feel like our involvement in this whole situation is no longer necessary.
Sticking my hand up here. Hi, I'm Zeno. I don't know if we've met. I work for the city. This has been my case, so we're still involved, unfortunately.
I mean, you're involved in the case of the the mechanic, he's apprehended. The chaos he's been causing should cease.
I don't think. Zeralda will say, I don't think we can really tell Zeno how to do his job or when a case is done.
Thank you.
Nonetheless, you guys should get some rest. A lot of you look a bit bruised and see several patches of blood stains on you in various spots. So I think it's probably you guys get a full night rest. I'll send over the detective in the morning, and then you could determine on whether you're going to continue or not. We do appreciate your help with this. I mean, Zeno works for the city, but with you guys working with him, we're not beyond paying you for your services.
When you say bloodstains, Corvina actually looks down at herself and goes, not me, and goes back to drinking.
Yeah, Zeralda's gonna go, I almost died!
I'm glad that you didn't, little one. You are quite resilient. All right. And at that, he'll let you guys out. He will take the mechanic under his custody and let you guys head back to the inn. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do for the night before you rested?
Well, we have people to check up on there.
That is true.
Yeah, because we have your friend in the...
And Leopold's brother are back at the inn.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, you guys head back. I assume, Leopard, you're going to go and check on your friends, and then who's going to be checking on Eloin?
I can check on both.
Okay.
There's probably a good chance they're just together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So we'll just go back to their apartment.
Okay. So, you go and check on them. You see that it's kind of strange because you grew up with Notham as a drow, and you guys don't sleep. You know, it's strange seeing him after the reincarnation and him being an Azamar laid out on a bed and sleeping. But, nonetheless, he is out cold. Eloin is also in the room as well, and she is currently in meditation. Then she's gone through the elf sleep.
Then I won't disturb them.
Okay. So, everybody goes and lays down. Go ahead and put yourself down for a long rest. You guys get your spells back, get back any hit dice that were spent, and morning comes around. Hello, Kitty.
At what time would shops start opening?
Shops. I'd say equivalent of like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Okay, so I'd probably head out to. I require some supplies for copying spells.
Okay. A shop that you'll know for a fact that'll have that is Gilmore's. Go ahead and mark down whatever the gold cost is going to be for the amount that you're buying.
Okay.
I also need to go see Gilmore, so I will go with you.
But you'd be still asleep.
Yeah, he only needs 4 hours.
That's fair.
But assume that you guys are able to do whatever shopping things you need to, like first thing in the morning. So if you wanted to go out and get, whatever supplies you need, go ahead and just mark them down.
We also have a bunch of gold that needs to be pawned off.
Okay. If you want to, whoever has access to the gold, if you want to spread that out to the appropriate people, go ahead and do that. Just run the math and just toss it in the chat.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
And I will say since we do have a new player, who we haven't introduced yet. We're going to. It's gonna happen. But early in the morning, probably 6 or 7 a.m., when Leopard is going to go shopping, if he turned around and looked up at the inn they were staying at, he would have been able to see Zerelda sitting on the roof with her rosewood smoking pipe, smoking some of that good halfling kush. That's how she refills her spell slots.
And that's exactly what you see. So you guys get your morning running around done, and the detective starts coming in. So for getting your character pulled back up here. So remember, it was not Oscar. That was the joke.
Correct.
Was it Zokar?
Zankas. Zankas.
There we go. Zankas.
Another Z name.
Yeah, I didn't say anything. Like, he did it. I'm like,
No.
it's all right. It's been the running joke, and like I've stopped even correcting people that have come in for like cameos and shit. They're like, "Oh, you're making another Z name. Great." We had like 5 of them in the party at one point.
Z, your X-sounding Z names.
Right.
And then Leopard.
And then Leopard. He was my favorite for a while. But nonetheless, so prior to meeting them, Captain of Guards woke you up first thing in the morning, and let you know kind of an abridged version of what happened last night. What I described at the beginning of the game as it was described to him. Tells you to meet a group of adventurers, gives kind of a base description for everybody at the inn that they're staying on in Abdar's Promenade, which is another section of the city. It is winter in Amon. Amon traditionally is, since it's a little bit closer to the ocean and kind of a mountainous region, is not super cold in most times of the year. They usually don't get a lot of snow. This winter has been kind of rough. It is definitely cold first thing in the morning. You get up and leave and have to crunch through a couple inches of snow. It hasn't snowed in probably a couple of days, but it's been that like bitter cold enough where it's still just there. And as you head through the morning streets and you head to the inn, you are greeted by the sight of a very tall halfling, kind of darker skin, white dreadlocks for hair, sitting on top of the inn roof, blowing smoke rings out of a pipe.
Kind of look up and then just walk into the inn, looking for the rest of the party, because you said I had kind of general description.
Correct.
And that seems like it would stand out a bit.
And yeah, at this point, everybody's done with their moving around and are kind of at the inn now, getting like breakfast in them, stuff like that. So, as you guys are sitting there having your breakfast, door opens up, and you see a gnome walk in, a fairly tall gnome. Go ahead and give us a description for you, bud.
So Zencash is about 4 foot tall. He's currently wearing like just a very common brown cloak to keep the worst of the winter wind off of him. Under that, he has a green, very short sleeved vest with brass buttons. metallic look to all of his skin. And that's, yeah, and he's once again just nothing but muscle. About 4 foot tall.
All right. And sure enough, you open up the door and you see a group of adventurers, as they were described, sitting at the table having breakfast.
Okay, I will walk over to that table. So,
I think Corvina is just poking at her plate. She wants nothing to do with breakfast. She has a constitution of 12. Breakfast is not happening.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a constitution check for that rum.
15. Whatever the plus would be on that 12. 1. So 16.
All right, so you're not as bad. You're definitely hungover. Stomach's a little bit queasy, but that like morning walk and that like sudden brisk cold of being outside compared to your warm in room, it kind of sobered you up a bit whenever you did whatever shopping you had in the morning.
Yeah, I do have questions for Gilmore.
Okay, and we'll go over that later.
Before, I imagine Zeno has not reached the inn yet, or is Zeno there with us?
I would say that Zeno's there, unless you had some other running around to do. You knew that there was a meeting first thing in the morning, so I would assume you'd be there.
I'm there with some coffee.
Okay.
I
So-
suppose I will be helping this one eat her breakfast.
Wait, did he have the necklace? Can I give that to the wall yet?
It's only been like 2 days, so no.
Okay. There were other questions, but we go over that later. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, man.
So y'all must be the adventurers. The ones looking after, some mechanic or something, right? Well, don't all talk at once.
That is correct, young Clockwork. No.
You see any gears?
The bronze skin, you look clockwork to me. I mean that by no offense. Meant it as a compliment.
All right. As he is, you're sitting down, so you're probably still taller than I am while I'm standing up.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, he's 6'9", so
Yeah.
you're
So I still have to look up to you.
yes.
So, what information were y'all needing?
I'll just look to Zeno. Because he's the detective on the case here.
Anything about the Myriad, really, their movements as of late. We sure do have active assassins now, so that's just something we're dealing with.
Yeah, you'll have that. So, most of what I have on the Myriad, of course you have the Azir kiln that's, kind of running everything. I'm convinced there's some kind of connection to, a noble family over in the Cloud District, correct, Lord Revan?
Cloud Top.
Cloud Top, yes. But there's I don't have proof on that, but I got a feeling in my gut.
Oh, don't you worry, I think we have some proof of that.
Oh, excellent.
I think we do, right?
You did. It was kind of circumstantial proof, but you had enough where you felt that you could probably find a way to weasel yourself into going there. At this point, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's just the majority of what I remember from our talk.
Oh. So at this point, the Eladrin that you had met before, Elowin. Now, she wasn't described to you whenever the captain was talking to you. Elowin is very pale skinned, almost white elf. Um, like with this almost like pure white hair that's tied back into a very intricate ponytail. Um, right now, she's just wearing common clothes. She doesn't have any gear on her. But she looks over to you, and kind of the thing that really stands out, aside from just like that pure white, is just these absolutely like piercingly blue fucking eyes that almost have like almost a glow to them. She goes, "All right, well, what is the game plan then? Are we going in to investigate this person? Are we looking for papers? Are we silencing them? What is it that... I'm sorry. Mortals have their... They have their apprehensions about death. I forget that sometimes.
I like this one. Corvina says, she gets her drink and goes over and turns to Elowen. Do you want a drink?
No, thank you. I find that human spirits are distasteful.
I do. I like this one. Can I keep her?
Well, I'll take a drink. Do we got ale?
This point,
No. We need to buy this one a drink.
I like that one.
Okay.
barmaid overhears this. She's kind of rushing around. There's not a whole ton of people here, but she's in the middle of like rushing breakfast from one table to another. She looks over. You want an ale, dear? I'll get right to you. Just a second.
Thank you. So, I mean, where do you think we should start? I ask the other detectives.
Well, we know some in the guard under the Myriad's payroll, so I imagine if we can figure out who and give them a bit of a gentle persuasion, we probably can get them to flip pretty easy.
I mean, I could probably flip them. And he flexes.
You know, that's not really a terrible idea.
Persuasion goes a lot better if they're scared shitless.
I agree. They do a little good cop, bad cop. Good detective, bad detective.
I'm on board.
Oh, I do like this one.
I have a question. Corvina looks up. She's like, how come you guys like when, other people, not Corvina, gets people to talk, but when Corvina, she takes out her daggers, gets people to talk, it's bad Corvina. Put the daggers away. Stop kidnapping and hurting people.
Well, there's a certain finesse you gotta have to it.
They both have good points.
They do have good
The
points.
daggers?
She throws them at the wall and waits for them to come back.
Hey now, Les. You damage up any of my property, you're going to be paying for it.
Is she pretty?
Oh, she said she's throwing you at the wall, not the bar.
Yeah, I thought she was talking to me and talking about me as well.
But,
Young Corvina, it is because when you do it, you are crass and a vigilante. This man is bound by law.
So I just need to steal a badge, and then I can hurt people to help others.
That is not how this works.
That's not at all.
This is confusing.
Oh, Serrana, don't you encourage her.
Zerelda, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain this to me later over, some spell work.
Sounds good.
I don't fully understand their ways too. I've found the best way to get people's information is by fear and bloodletting, but
Oh, you're not helping either.
I think that maybe Zerelda, Lady Elowen, and Corvina should start our own, vigilante justice, like, those wonderful birds of prey,
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
have our own group and help
No,
out.
it'll never work.
It'd be a shame I'd have to track you all down. I'd really rather not do that.
Sounds like it'd be a real Suicide Squad.
I was waiting for somebody to make the joke. Thank you for that.
I wouldn't build Marvel at DC collectively with that group.
Well done. Both you get an experience point
Hooray! I'm only 10 more away
from nothing.
from something.
Because remember, experience points in my game, it's kind of like whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter, but I give them out anyway.
Yeah, I have one experience point for D&D means Dixon Depression.
Mm-hmm.
So very proud of how hard I worked on that one.
I mean,
Just know this
Yeah.
is the sign in ASL for Dix, so. there
Really?
you go.
Ah,
Yeah.
I learned
You were
it
doing
today.
that, and I was like, wow, I wonder if she knows that.
all right, moving on. All right, so what's the game plan then? You guys are going to try to find some people that are not on the up and up and shake them down?
Oh, I thought you meant besides Corvina. Okay, let's do that.
If they're not on the up and up, how are we shaking them down?
You have to bring them up to bring them down.
Rage.
I pick things up and put them down.
I'm expecting our new gnome companion to make somebody hit like rock bottom.
It's only if he's a rock gnome.
I am.
Can the gnome like ride on my shoulders and like toss bombs, piggyback?
I mean, you could probably throw the gnome.
We're not throwing the gnome.
Gnomes are not ranged weapons.
Not this one.
They are if you have catapult spell.
Do I? I don't know.
Not for this character. That was your goblin.
Damn it. I get them so confused. That's why I have a notebook for every character. This is Zeralda's notebook. It looks like a tree and there's gold in it.
Yay!
Oh, pretty.
On that same note too, Zeralda, you did get your spells back, so make sure that you're selecting whatever you want for the day, because remember, you can change your spells every day.
Yup. I need to do that.
All right.
Also need to find where I put my stats when we leveled up at your house last session. 'Cause I don't know
Wow,
where.
out of context.
What?
Out of context when we leveled up at your house.
I mean, that could mean anything.
Da 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 da.
Leveled up their cooking game. Leveled up their ability to read dissertations.
That's right.
She helps them with some crooked paintings, so now they're all leveled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, by the way, wellness check on my robot friend. Have you been yelling at him?
No, Vector has not been yelled at because he's been annoying me, so he's been asleep.
I don't know how to take that answer, but I will do another wellness check because if you yell at him, I am coming to get him.
All right, and on that note, we are going to go ahead and take our break. Say about maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll be back to go in and see how we're going to shake some people down.
Absolutely. Cannot wait.
All right, guys. I will see everybody back here in about 10 minutes, and thank y'all. All right, and we are back. All right. So, in regards to your informant for, it's going to take me a while to get the name. Zarkus?
Van Cass.
Zan Cass. I got the Z and the end of it close.
Yeah.
Zan Cass. The informant that he was looking for, you know that you could probably find him in the upper slums. Actually, sorry, not the upper slums. It would be the lower slums, rather. Because upper slums is still a half-decent part of town. So, down in this area here on the map. Soker, if you want to scroll down the map slightly. So, like, just outside of the city walls.
Yeah. So that's where we need to go, guys. I'm telling you, we can find these bastards.
All right, that's where we're going? Hi ho, hi ho.
Sounded like it.
All right, cool. I love the agreeance of silence.
The wall will not be doing hi ho.
All right, then low ho. I don't care.
Low, I think it's low he though. It's hi ho, low he.
Sure, let's go with that.
Middle ha.
All right, so guys head out of Abdar's Promenade. I want to say at this point it's probably around like 10 in the morning ish. Go through the Erdite Quarter, which is kind of the college town where the main magical college and actual schools are located. And you head outside of the city and into the lower slums.
Are the NPCs joining us or no?
Only if you want them to.
I mean, I wouldn't mind hanging out with Lady Elowen because she is dope, and the way that she thinks, I think her and Corvina would be the bestest of friends.
Murder buddies.
If anything, she would have no problem coming with you guys, but I think that probably what's best is that you give her a little bit of an allowance so she could get equipment, because right now she's got clothes.
Or also maybe another day of rest.
And probably the same thing too with Notham, because he has clothes and a sword. So if you guys want to take a little bit of money out of the party funds and let them do their shopping, they could at least get some equipment and be of some use.
I mean, we can do a shoplifting spree.
Again.
I mean, that was fun.
I'd rather not take the game away from that if we could help it. That, and plus you have 2 cops in your party right now.
I prefer we didn't do that.
Yeah, I really like having a job.
Well,
Yeah,
then
bring it here.
we're distraction buddies. Fine. Party with this.
Okay, and we can figure that out another time. We'll just assume that you guys took out like 100 or 200 golds and let them both do a little bit of shopping around so they had like armor and shit like that. All right. So you guys make it to the lower slums. Now, for those that have been in cities before and you see the term slums, you assume the worst. The lower slums is definitely a tent city, but it's labeled slums almost a little ironically. It is not like the upper slums, which is literal like farmland, but down here things are organized. It's just a poor part of the city, but it's not without its guard presence. It's not without its level of shady things, but for the most part, it's kind of a nice area. It just is tense compared to being proper buildings.
The campground.
Right. Yeah, it really is just a giant campground that's permanent. Now, the person that you're looking for, that is your informant, is a halfling named Rex. Rex, you know, does work for the Clasp. He's low on the totem pole. Very much information merchant. Does a little bit of smuggling, a little bit of pickpocketing. Kind of got his hands in everything. But largely, he does information.
Alright.
And as you search around, you do find a fairly large tent. The tent looks like it's kind of an old circus tent. It's a little bit colorful. It's definitely way bigger than this halfling would ever need. And as you walk up, you do see two individuals, both of which are kind of in dark leather. One is standing guard, so to speak, while the other one is more or less like leaning against like the tent pole, like on the outside where it's staked. Kind of leaning against that, like picking his nails with a knife. Both of which are human. As you guys start approaching, the one of them looks over to the other. Yeah, eyeball the party. What can I do for you, gentlemen and ladies?
Well, we need to speak to Rex.
You guard? You have to tell me if you're guard.
I'm not a guard.
I mean, he has to tell if he's his guard, right? Yeah. Go ahead and give me a deception.
Oh, great. I am amazing at this.
I mean, he's not lying.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm a detective, technically. It doesn't matter either way. Yeah. Total of 7. Not great.
They got a 3.
Yes.
He doesn't look like a guard. What guard is that short and shiny? Yeah, they all have standard looking gear.
Exactly.
Which means he can kick your ass and make a statement like that and calling him short.
Yeah, you're probably right. Alright. Go ahead, Sam.
Gotta strut into it.
As you should.
Yeah.
I imagine I'd have to actually lean down to enter.
Not really. Because this is an old purposed circus tent. So, like,
Do I need to lean down?
yeah, I mean, you could lean down if you want. I mean, you could lean down if you want too. You're just, like, at best at your height, like, your horns are tickling some of the tassels. Like, you can still walk through cleanly, though.
Okay. Because I was, like, picturing the wall coming through, like, almost last, where, looking like Lady D from Resident Evil. Right?
Yes.
Just when she comes through a door looking like that and Rex, like, shit in her pants.
But remember, according to Zerelda, there is only one Dami Mommy in this game.
And she lives in Cloud Hall.
So, you guys come in, and it is gaudy. Clashing, like, golds and reds and bronze, and, like, there's things that are, like, bejeweled and really, like, cheap gems. And mixture of, like, different styles of rugs, where one of them is, like, a bear, but another one is just this, like, bright gold embroidered rug that has these, like, old symbols on it. Like, this is kind of a weird and eclectic collection of somebody who thinks this is just amazing. sitting
I
at.
think that would catch Corvina's eye. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
24.
I'd say there's probably a handful of things that catch your eye. Stuff that you'd be able to, that's small and pocketable. Probably a handful of gems that seem to be potentially worthwhile. A really like gaudy jeweled dagger. You see a like this god ugly like golden mask that's got this giant like crooked nose on it, and it's almost like the like sad theater face but distorted weirdly.
Is it like a plague mask?
Not necessarily, because it's not bird-like. It's more like the nose is elongated, almost like a crone.
Okay.
And I guess kind of a crone mask would be more fitting, because it's like the visor on it is just very like old and disheveled, and like comically, well, not necessarily comically, but what's the word I'm looking for? Dramatically out of proportion.
So it's like a Tengu mask?
Kind of like a Tengu mask to a certain extent. But,
Do we see Rex?
yep. Rex is sitting at a regular human-sized desk and a regular human-sized chair. Rex is in this, like, bright red silk and gold embroidered shirt, and it's only buttoned like 2/3 of the way up, so it's kind of splayed up at the top. Next to him at the desk, you see this like very large plumed hat that is kind of just like this nobleman's hat. And a lot of it is, again, these like clashing of colors that just seems discordant. And he's sitting down at the desk. He's working in a couple of papers. I told you lot not to bother me. Goes and sits up. What in the hell are you doing here? And he looks...
Hi, Rex.
Yep. Look, I had nothing to do with whatever you think I did. I've been here all night. You don't have to do anything here. How did the gods even let you in? Did they not tell that you were a god?
I mean, I don't look like a typical guard, though, do I, Rex?
Hey, you kind of look like an ass. But other than that...
Well, I'm not here to arrest you or anything. I just need a little bit of information.
Well, information I could do. Goes kind of sits back in his chair, and the chair does start to lean and like swivel a little bit. For both Rex, or for Zerelda and fuck, I will get the name eventually. Zenkas.
Yes.
There we go. Since you're a little bit more like eye level to like almost the underside of the desk, his feet are like comically dangling off the bottom of this chair, and you do see a small like step stool to get up to it. It's just, it seems like it's his way of trying to be eye to eye with everybody. But from your vantage, like you could see through the illusion that he's presenting, and it's just a little bit comical.
Is there a cup or anything sitting on the desk?
Oh yeah, he's got a silver chalice, a gold chalice, and both of which are bedazzled like everything else is.
So I got the mage hand from the telekinetic feat. I'd like to use that to bring his cup over to me.
Sure, that's not a problem. So he's sitting back, he's like, alright, what kind of deal? What? Goddamn gnomes. And you down it. It's pretty decent wine. It's like, alright, well, aside from you drinking off of my stash, information does cost you.
You've not offered anyone else a drink.
Well, that's because nobody else here is a guest. That kind of goes the same thing with you, but I'd rather not have to deal with being arrested today for giving a detective shit. Also, who the hell are the rest of you?
Also a detective.
Oh, great, you're multiplying.
This little one here is very knife happy, and as for the rest of us, I don't know that information needs to be shared.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stabby the Rogue. Can we get on with this?
Fine. So it depends on the information you're looking at, depends on the price that I'm requiring for that information. So what you looking for?
Now listen, Rex. I know you know something about the Myriad.
I might, in fact. What kind of information are you looking at for them?
Do you know what guards might be on their payroll?
I might. How we start seeing some coins?
I'll let you keep your cup.
It's unbecoming of a detective to be stealing from a citizen.
I found this cup.
Strange. So did I. Fine. I could give you one name for the return of my cup.
Deal. And I set it on the desk.
Nice gesture, by the way. Set it up on the desk.
Yeah.
All right. There's a guard, a younger chap on the class payroll. Kind of tells us whenever new people come into town and people that seem worthwhile robbing. His name's Shen. Give a general description. Both of you have met him. He's a nice enough guy. He just hasn't been in the guard for very long, though. Now, what he knows with the Myriads, I've seen him talk to one or two of them before, but that's neither here nor there. A young man's welcome to his own enterprises as long as it doesn't fold into my business.
Any questions for him, detective? I look at the one guy with the Z name. I can't remember your name.
Zeno.
Zeno.
Gods, you know, there's so many questions.
Well, you're welcome to ask your questions. Just depends on the answers. The answers will depend on how much you're giving me and how truthful I'll be.
DM, check the player chat. I don't want to interrupt the story with a question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Zeno.
I'm sorry, my brain just completely shut down on me for there. Let me get back to you on those questions, I'll say as I drink my coffee that I've definitely had this whole time. Slurp.
You take his cup and pour your coffee into it.
Yes.
So trying to think of what I was going to say.
See, it's hard.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
How do word?
But not as hard as I'm gonna shill out. Make sure you like the stream, follow, and submit it to all your friends.
Shameless self-promotion. I love it.
Yeah.
So, detectives, I have a feeling, however, that you wouldn't make it all the way into the lower slums just for the name of a guard. I feel like there's a lot more in stake here, seeing that you show up not only as your shiny metallic self, but also with several extremely heavily armed companions.
Oh, don't mind that. That's just how they are. Let me ask you this. How does the class feel about the Myriad being involved in their business?
So, the Myriad is a problem. Because the issue with them is they don't respect the boundaries of where our work begins and ends. Like, they could fuck with the wizards over in the Erdite Quarter. I don't care about that. That's between them and the wizards. But staking claims in the Cloudtop District, moving stuff through the docks, that's where we start having issues with that. That we don't have a claim in people trade. It's not worth it. Sure, there's a lot of money in it, but usually you get, especially in a city like this, full of magic users and sword wielders, has a tendency to has vendettas and consequences. Right, consequences that we would rather not get ourselves involved in.
And that's why I tolerate you brats.
A necessary evil, but at least the class weren't willing to outright murder their own citizens. There's some sense of unity among.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, of course, but I mean, let's all be realistic here.
So,
the Cloudtop District, what are they staking in there? What are they moving in on?
word has it that they're trying to get a couple people in the higher levels of society on their side. People that we've already converted. And work it into their favor. They seem to forget that the collapse was here during the city's destruction, and we kept it going, and that's why the council here keeps us there, and we have a say in what goes on in the city. They might not entirely like it. They have to sanction thievery. That's not something that those of the higher level appreciate, and I'm sure that puts a nice little thorn in your side, which does put a smile on my face. But sounds like the Myriad is trying to move in on a couple of those families. Now, whether that's through extortion or through just pure old-fashioned bribery and power, they're trying to take a couple of those families away from us, which would then have influence on the council.
Zeno's gonna pull out a cigarette. You don't mind, do you?
My word wouldn't stop you anyway. Go ahead.
I was trying to be courteous. Listen, the class, it's not my business. My business is with rogue murderers, not the class. So, for all I care, whatever. I think you're a little late. Taking a drag of my cigarette. We already have it on pretty good authority that someone in the Cloudtop District is already working with the Myriad.
That's unfortunate.
And I mean, once one of them turns, who knows how long it'll be till the other one's turn, right, brats?
Give me a persuasion check. Do it with advantage, because Zeno's kind of helping you with this.
Persuasion.
Yeah.
Right. 19.
Alright, a solid number.
FYI, my intimidation is very high.
Mine's pretty good. All my other charisma stuff is offered.
My charisma's okay.
Says the person with Eldritch Blast. You bring
Mine's
up
actually a +7 if you guys really need it.
Okay. Guys bring up a good point. And a lot of those people are kind of untouchable. Any one of them goes missing, then it's going to be assumed that we did it. And that's whenever the council starts to turn on us, and we don't want that.
And that sounds like a perfect time for the Myriad to move in if the council's already coming down on you.
Sounds like a perfect plan indeed.
Zeno's gonna kind of give a look over to the other detective whose name's escaping me still currently.
Xantas.
And kind of give him a look of like, do you trust me?
I'll kind of nod to you, yeah.
I don't know how much time the class has, Rex. There was already an assassination attempt that the captain of the guard's aware of. So, on paper, he knows it's the Myriad, but I don't know how lucky you'll be next time that it won't be blamed on the class. And who's to say that whoever's in the Cloud Top district isn't going to use that as motivation to lessen the influence in the council.
Okay. Give me an intimidation check. That was actually pretty good. Give that to me with advantage.
A dirty 20.
Alright. Alright. So what information do you need from me?
We need names or targets or important dates, anything that we could use to act quickly, because I have a pretty good suspicion that we're already starting to work on a little bit of borrowed time.
He looks you up and down. Get the feeling they already have a name. So I think what you're looking for is an excuse to go and pursue that name.
Ah, Rex. Now, what kind of detective do you think me for? That I think, oh, what if it was hypothetically, and what's the guy's name again that we know?
For the
Top districts.
it's a woman, Gianna Sycamore.
Oh, hypothetically, someone like, I don't know, Gianna Sycamore, perhaps. This is just me speaking of hypotheticals.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Hypotheticals, allegedly. Those are words I'm very familiar with.
Right. I'm not saying anything concrete. If anyone was to ask me in a court or a room, I'd say I didn't mention anyone. Just hypotheticals.
He goes, spins in the chair, hops down, and once on the grounds, you do see that Rex is actually a fairly short halfling. He is barely 3 foot tall. And he walks over to a chest, pops it open, starts to rifle through some paperwork, pulls out what looks to be a file, and goes over and hands it to you guys. This might work as a bit of entry. The Sycamore family is well known for breeding horses. It's what got them so rich and up in the Cloud Top district, and what got them such a name for themselves. They are well known for having well-bred, perfect horses. However, they made a deal with the class about 10 years back for the use of a nightmare. Breeding such things in the city and using that to make a perfect creature. That would be deeply illegal. Now, whether she's actually doing this, this is of course rumor and circumstance. But these types of documentation might be enough for you to get in the door.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, Rex.
Zeno will kind of open it up and flip through.
Taking a look through it, I mean, just a cursory glance. It's fairly well documented. This is like trade papers where they went and found the fucking thing. Like the whole shebang of like what you would expect for like an exotic animal exchange that is purely illicit.
The
But
shebang for the shebang.
right. Goes. The trade-off here is you guys make this as a legitimate arrest and make sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the clasp and make sure that our name is nowhere near that.
Why would it have anything to do with the class?
Indeed.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. We came across this file. Doing investigative, found some trade reports. Didn't make any sense. We looked a little further. Found something like this.
So in that file, does it say anything about where the nightmare is, or
No.
where they got it?
The file is old. It's the original documentation. So whether they still have it or not, you have no idea. All right. Well, let me say that. The file has no idea, neither does he. All he knows is they made the purchase, they went and collected on it, and they've been using that for the past 10 years.
Doesn't need to exist as long as we have it. It's good enough.
All right. Think that's the information that you came into my tent for. Also, send my guards in whenever you're done. I need to fire them.
Well, good luck with that, Rex.
Zeno will, as is customary, just slap down some 20 gold.
See? I like your friend. He's courteous.
Ain't worried about your opinion of me, Rex.
That's fine.
I'll walk out. Tell the guards that he wants to see him.
So you're walking away. For such a small person, he's got a loud voice. That was a guard, you fucking idiots! What?
Actually, that was 2 guards.
I'm not a guard. They pay me, but I'm not a guard.
Ha ha ha! Loopholes.
I think specifically they pay me because I'm not a guard.
Zeno, as you're walking by, give me a perception check, you specifically.
It's a 14.
So, as you're walking by, you walk past an empty tent. Tent is old, definitely weather beat. Nobody's been lived in that for probably a couple of years. But on one of the tent flaps, you actually recognize some marking on there. As you go and take a look at it and kind of like unfurl it a little bit, you see the stamp of Martel on it.
I'm going to hand the file over. Can you hold on to this, please, for me?
Yeah, of course.
I'll be right back, everyone. I believe someone needs to have a word with me, and I will walk to the tent.
Okay.
What's that about?
No idea. And I will be holding on to Corvina's shoulder.
All right. So you head into the tent.
You're not going.
You sit down, meditate for a second. There's no answer. The symbol that was there, though, it looks as old as the fabric. It looks like it's been there a while. Sure. Go ahead and give me an investigation.
50.
Bless you, Leopard. So you look around a little bit, find again some old stuff. You see just like an old pair of boots that's behind there. Small, like old, like child's doll. It's definitely like weather beaten, dirty. There's a button eye that's holding on for dear life. But other than that, there's really nothing that's jumping out at you. It's just strange that in this specific district, in a random tent, you found her symbol somewhere.
So I'll gently kind of pick up the doll and like set it more like neatly, like I'll brush it off a little, just kind of set it in a more fitting position, just tossed on the ground.
Okay. All right, and that's it.
So
Okay. So you join back up with the rest of the group. You guys start heading back to the city itself. What direction are we heading in now? You wanting to head straight to the cloud top? I mean, it's probably only about maybe 11:30 noon at this point. Or you want to wait till it's maybe a little bit later?
I'll have to see what everyone else needs to do before we make any big moves.
Okay.
Also, just making note, keeping an eye on the time. It is 9:41.
I know, I saw.
Yeah.
I've been trying to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Corvina will go to, and she would remember, but I don't, whomever has detect magic and identify. I know at least one of them.
That's
Zeno has one, and I think Leopard has the other.
Yeah. One of
And see if the mask glows and what it could be about.
You mean the mask that you stole behind the scenes that viewers can know about?
Something I found along the way.
It was just laying there.
It
In a
Along-
tent.
along
In
the way.
somebody's pocket.
Yeah, it was
happened
along the way
to be
from
in
the
my bag of
entrance.
holding, and when I went to go
of the
find
fence
the rum,
to the
I
desk.
accidentally said mask, and it came out. I'm curious as to what it might be.
Sure. So, if somebody runs a detect magic on it, nothing glows.
So it's just a mask.
Just a mask.
Okay.
It's bizarre. It's heavy because it's all metal. It's probably a solid like 4 or 5 pounds by itself. But it's just this bizarre, weird-looking bronze mask.
I will still take it because it is disguise. That is dope.
Fair. All right. How about for Leopard and Zeralda? Was there anything that you guys wanted to do before we had moved on to anything else?
Well, I am curious if our new detective friend may have heard of anything about a hag or had any knowledge of the recent abductions we had was stopped to currently.
For Zankus, go ahead and give me a say either a history or an investigation, like whatever you would have that would be better. And you're muted, by the way.
I'm sorry, I was looking this up. Was that to me?
Yeah, that was to you.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
It's a 18 on the dice.
So either history or an intelligence-based check, whatever's better.
History. So that's a 22.
22? Okay. So what Leopard was asking you is if you knew about any of the missing persons or the hag or anything like that. In your case, you definitely heard about the missing persons in the Port of Amman. Your reports of those were probably closer to the numbers that they actually found, like bodies-wise. But you would assume that it was associated with the Myriad. There had been missing persons within the city that was associated with their kidnappings. You hadn't heard anything about a hag or devils or anything like that in the city, though.
I inform him of what I know.
Okay.
Are there actual hags in the city? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
We did encounter one, yes.
Yeah.
So in that case, then, is there any place you wanted to go to maybe try to do some more research on the subject? I know you would also, even just a personal project thing, you picked up stuff to be able to scribe some new spells into your spell book.
I can say that for a long rest, though.
Okay.
But so it depends what the plan is. Exactly. Whether it makes sense to maybe try to head to, I guess it was the Lyceum that would probably have the best sources of
Correct.
so it would just depend on what the plan was.
Okay. So then, what's the plan you guys have? Are you wanting to take some time to maybe research the other issue that Leopard's bringing up? The fact that you guys did have a hag that went away.
I mean, I feel that it's something we should look into.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Okay. So, if that's the direction you guys are heading, then we'll head you to the Erdite Quarter, where you do find the Lyceum. The Lyceum was rebuilt after the Chroma Conclave attack. So the building still looks relatively new. The stonework on it is perfectly pristine. It was not laid by hand, it was laid by transmutation. The very tall, like almost like hexagonal building and just kind of stacked up as this very pretty, like almost like copper green dome, where and throughout you do see like various like stained glass windows and smaller windows and stuff. And the Lyceum not only is a massive college, it is the teleportation circle hub within the city, which you do have to have membership to have access to. There is the general library, and then there's also the Lyceum library that you also have to be a member for. But you head to the Lyceum, opening up the doors, and see a fairly old dwarf sitting at the counter. Pure, like, almost snow white beard to him. Has just the very thick, bushy, white eyebrows that are almost a unibrow. And it has those just like that aged, like tanned leather face to him that you'd get from just hundreds of years of being a fucking dwarf. Just sitting at the desk, reading through a book, a small ponce sitting on his nose. Looks up. I ain't seen you before.
No,
How can I help you?
I was hoping to find information on tags, as well as potentially any connection they have to devils and sacrifices.
It's a pretty broad search there, son.
Unfortunately, we have fairly little information.
You looking for them associated with a particular devil lord?
We've been bearded devils, but I'm not certain which lord it is.
Give me a history check, because there was a name that's been dropped a couple times.
Okay. That's only 14.
I'd say that that's fair enough. I mean, I don't know, considering your schooling, probably not. Not like your schooling was bad, just I don't know how much extra planar stuff they get into in Kryn.
We are there with him. If he says it's been dropped a couple times, could we give him advantage?
Sure, I mean, you guys could also make your own history checks too if you want. Because everybody, with the exception of our new gnome, has been there to see all of that.
My history is just a +2 if anyone has better.
I mean, just
Mine's only +1.
go ahead and roll the stuff just to see.
Okay, I'll stop filming my cute puppy while he's sleeping and dreaming.
How dare I?
Yeah, mine is just a 6 total.
Wow, 17.
Okay. Zeno, you rolling in on this, or is Zeralda?
My history's terrible. It's not worth it.
Okay.
Don't know if anyone's history is any good.
Mine was not worth it, and I got a 17, so...
I got a 9.
All right. Zeralda?
You're muted, honey.
I got a 10.
Okay. So, the wall is actually familiar with this, at least loosely. With your upbringing as being a tiefling, there's definitely been stories passed around in your family about the different devil lords and what their roles are in the hells, mostly as cautionary tales. But a name that has been flown around a couple times is Levestus.
Don't go by Uncle Levi. He is not nice.
Okay. So, I lost where we're at, what I'm doing with this.
So the dwarf was asking if there was a specific devil lord that they were referring to whenever we were talking about the hags.
I believe the devil lord that you are wanting is Levestus, Master Dwarf.
Okay. Well, the books on the associations with the devil lords is part of the Lyceum membership. Are any of you here wizards?
Not a skilled one, unfortunately.
That's fine. Only a wizard and a sorcerer can train at the school anyway. Goes, pulls out a stack of paperwork. Kind of shuffles it through, and he's got practiced hands. Like, while he seems kind of old and frail for what he is, he pulls the stuff out, squares it up, pulls out a fucking rubber stamper, and if you want access to it, I will have to give you a membership. That would be 25 gold. And what's your name, son?
It's
Leopard, like the cat.
Yes.
Okay, I always thought that was pronounced leopard. Okay. Goes, fills out some other information. See it scribbled. Elf, comma, dark. He starts filling out the rest of the information.
So, does he see through my disguise?
All you see is he writes down dark elf.
Interesting.
Goes, all right. The gold.
Yeah, I hand it over.
All right. Goes, collects it. Cha-chink, boom, cha-chink, boom. Goes, slides over a card with your name on it. And it just has freshman student, Leopard, library access.
Okay.
Go upstairs. He starts to point. He gives you some directions. And I would like, I'm going to ask specifically for Leopard, Zeno, and Zarkis, right? Zancast. I will get there. I keep on wanting to put the R instead of An.
It's like Chromecast, but it's Zancast.
Yeah.
And see, I get the cast each time. It's the second and third letters where I keep fucking it up.
Think Lancaster, but get rid of the and
Oh,
add the same.
maybe Lancaster.
Lancaster.
What's Lancaster? It's a town in a state.
I'm helping him do associations.
It's a
ADHD
town in
brain.
South Central Pennsylvania.
And in California.
That's pronounced Lancaster, not Lancaster.
That sounds like a conversation for another time. So for the three of you, just give me a flat intelligence check.
Oh my gosh. 11?
19. Or,
7.
sorry, with the intelligence modifier, right? So 21.
All right, so Leopard, you understand the directions he gives you perfectly. Because the directions he gives you are fucking convoluted. He seems to be taking you all over the damn place. Like, go up 2 floors, go down a floor and a half. Like, take a left and then 2 rights and then another circle around. Like, it's full on strange directions. But you're listening to them and you're catching on. For everybody else, 'cause you guys are listening to these things and it's just like, okay, that's 2 lefts and a right, and like you get lost after like the second or third step, and it's like, all right, you understand where you're going? All right, go away now. He just kind of leans back in his chair, picks up his book, and just starts to ignore you all.
What's he reading?
He is reading the magical studies, the amalgamation between using evocation and abjuration.
Great book. Great book.
All right. So, with Leopard.
Corvina actually walks up to him and says, "Excuse me, I have a question about a magic book.
Yes, miss.
Have you ever read the book Tesla?"
I have. We have a copy of it here. It's one of the original prints.
Now that's a good book.
It is a magical book. I wanted to make sure that it was in this Lyceum. Thank you. And she smiles, winks, and turns around and starts walking with the party.
All right. And that is where we will leave off for tonight. Guys have made it into the Lyceum. Leopard is now a freshman. And I will expect a full thesis and acceptance speech by the time that we play again. But the Iman Ragers are going to be great.
They used to be the Iman Dragons, but they have to change.
Right, yeah. It's funny because, like, as much as I'm joking around with this, I'm kind of waiting for the Strixhaven book to come out because it's going to have rules on how to run magical colleges. And I kind of want to do a magical college episode.
Are the Iman Ragers all barbarians?
Only whenever it comes to keg standing.
No, then they would.
Which, for the record, I feel like that would be the most boring party because most wizards have low constitutions. It's like
How does it work?
it would be hardcore partying for a solid hour, and then drunken study time.
Barbarian Pat, the fraternity.
Yes,
Oh my god.
Delta Kappa Rage.
Yeah, Corbina's gonna get bored of all the library stuff and just go and hang out in the colleges with the bards.
I mean, there is a Bard's College here too. It's not the Lyceum; it's going to have its own thing, but there is a Bard College here.
She's gonna be like, you guys do the book reading, I'm gonna go hang out with the music people.
Well, at that, I will go ahead and close the stream. Everybody, thank you for watching and listening in. Again, thank you for our special guest tonight, and we will be seeing more of him as we progress for the next couple of weeks at least. I hope you all had fun. Thank you very much, and as always, you guys are welcome at my table. Thank you.